Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, and toxic relationships. So we're going to get back into this one. We're going to continue the rest of, what was it? Day 17 of the trial. Now, let's just get a little quick recap. We already know what's happened at Friday. They were supposed to have the verdict, but they didn't. So they're going to have the verdict Monday. So we're going to see what's going to happen Monday. All right. And I might go live during the daytime Monday to see what the verdicts. I don't think it's going to be so long, but we'll see. I will if I'm working from home tomorrow. So I'll do it tomorrow in the day. We'll see. But if not, I'll have something in the evening time and we can discuss it. All right, so basically it wrapped up the trial. Everybody, the prosecution and the defense, they did their closing arguments and had a rebuttal and all of that. So we just got to see what's going to happen next. But now, today we're going to continue the timeline. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the timeline. We did a little bit before, so we aren't going to continue the rest now. And it's really interesting to find out exactly, pinpoint everything. I just love timelines. I love interrogations. I love them all because you learn so much. And this woman is completely just horrible. She's just real evil. Just evil, evil, evil. Ladies and gentlemen, be careful who you date. Be careful who you bring around your children. Okay? You know, her and Al, 4 months, and then they got married, and he was already married to somebody. It's just so sad. All right, let's continue this one here. Let's get into it. And happy blessed Sunday to everybody that's here. So make sure you hit the like button. Share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to look into the comment section. You'll find my email address. If you have a viewer's request or you need any coaching or you just need to reach out to me for anything, feel free. And also check out some of my past commentary, okay? And leave some feedback. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get it. One more time. This is day 17, and we're continuing day 17. We're going to finish it up today. And it's all about the timeline. Let's get it.
For 25 hours. And then we also have USA financials as well.
I also forgot to tell you, on Donna's channel, when we do recaps, we do it on speed 1.5. So it's on 1.5. If it's too fast for you, you can always slow it down on your end, the people that's here, or in the replay. And it could be on normal speed, but we do it on 1.5 here, because these things are long. So we got to put on 1.5. All right, now, finally, let's get it.
As well as American Express financials.
The USA financials and the American Express financials, are those accounts associated to the defendant?
To the defendant, yes.
Same for the other exhibits that have the same information on them?
Correct.
The blue line indicating Gannon is missing. Does that extend for the entirety of this timeline as well?
Yes, Gannon is still missing, and this timeline covers the period of Saturday, February 1st through February 4th.
Okay. Starting with the first timed entry, you have that squiggly line, and then 8 a.m. What do you have? Why do you have the squiggly line there again?
So the information that we have is that the van number 1, with Dakota, Lowry, and the defendant in it, departs the extended stay right around 8 a.m. And
Where do they go to?
They drive to the budget, which is located at 140 East Garden of the Gods Road, where the defendant rents a van number 2 for $679 using the American Express.
Does that coincide with the testimony that we got from the person from budget about that van rental and went through the receipt and all that sort of thing?
From him as well as her brother Dakota.
Okay. And then I just want to have you point out visually the
And blessings to everyone. And Francine, thank you again. Oh, good morning on your end. Good evening. Yeah. Well, still afternoon for us over here. And thank you. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you. Girl, I had me a good time Friday. Lord have mercy. Cinco de Mayo all the way. A little too much fun. Recovering still now. Huh. All right. Let's get back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Resume. I see you, Melanie, up in there. And Mod on Deck Jack. Let's get it.
two different vans. Do they look different on the timeline?
They do. So van number 1 has windows. Van number 2 does not have windows. This is more accurate depiction of what van number 2 looked like, the one that they drove to South Carolina.
Okay. And then moving on to 10:10 a.m., there's a line above that goes to cast report page 45. Why is that significant for that timeline?
The van has left Colorado Springs area and is at the Love's gas station just outside Pueblo.
Is that what's the source of that information?
That's going to be the ping data from the built-in GPS tracker on the van that Budget places on their vehicles that go out of state.
Okay. And does that show a purchase being made at the Love's Travel Center in Pueblo?
Yes, so we have a coinciding purchase for $8.34 at the time that the van gives a ping.
The next timed entry is 11:57 a.m. to 12:20 p.m. What is that entry?
So this is when the defendant and Harley go to the Walmart located at 2921 Topol Drive in Trinidad, and the defendant purchases phone number 2. It's a prepaid Verizon wireless phone with a 407 area code, and there's a corresponding charge from the USA account for $89.03.
There was testimony from the person that searched that van back in Rhode Island, and there was a Verizon prepaid calling card in that glove box. Do you remember that?
I do.
Did you do some research on that particular item?
I did.
What did you find when you researched that calling card?
We wrote a search warrant to Verizon for the numbers that are on the back of the prepaid card, and it confirms that it links to this prepaid phone purchase at the Walmart on this day and time.
You have a time zone change there. Why'd you put a time zone change?
We're moving from Mountain Time to Central Time. She's now driving through Texas.
All right. The next timed entry, 7:49 p.m., is above the line, referencing cash report page 48. Why is that significant for that time frame?
So this is now, instead of AT&T like we saw earlier, it's now her Verizon phone number 2. Works the same technology. You have a date and a time, a cell phone tower that provides service to the phone, and then a direction, a sector as to where that phone is at. So the cash report shows phone number 2, the Verizon phone, purchased at the Walmart earlier that day at the hotel where they stayed the night.
And then going forward now, are we going to have potentially 2 sources of data, both the GPS information from the van and then call detail records for this phone that was bought in Trinidad, Colorado?
Yes, that's what will be in the cash report, and then we'll also have financials that'll be on the timeline.
Okay. The entry at 11:10 p.m., what is that?
So that's the 6-hour scheduled ping for the van, and it's in the parking lot of the Candlewood Suites, located at 18 Western Plaza Drive in Amarillo, Texas. And we have a corresponding charge a few hours earlier for $91.
The next entry, I'm sorry, do we have a date change there?
Yes, so they stay the night at this Candlewood Suites, and then the van sits at that Candlewood through the morning of Sunday, February 2nd of 2020, with the scheduled power up to 12 a.m. and then the 5:10, 11:10 a.m. Pings.
Does this indicate that they're still potentially at the Candlewood Suites, have not started driving for that day?
That's correct.
Maybe slipped in or something like that?
That's correct. It hasn't moved.
7:38 p.m. Is that the next entry?
It is. There's a $25 charge on the American Express. This time, Candlewood Suites, but in Decatur, Texas. 601 West Thompson Street is the Candlewood Suites, and then we have a corresponding 11:10 p.m. GPS ping. So they traveled from Amarillo to Decatur on February 2nd.
Do they spend the night in Decatur, Texas into the morning and day of February 3rd?
They do.
What's the next timed entry at 3:14 a.m. to 5:10 a.m.?
We have the power up event, and then we have the scheduled 6-hour ping alert, and the van is still at the Candlewood Suites in Decatur, Texas.
And I should have asked you to clarify this, but on those van schedule alerts, you have in the line, it says stopped for those different references. Why do you have that word stop there, and what does that mean?
It means it's parked. We mapped out all of the pings, and sometimes it was traveling on the highway. And when it's traveling, it gives you where it's at and how fast it's going. And so this is just important, showing that's just parked in the parking lot of the hotel.
Okay. And to February 4th, did they send their test? And then the next timed entry is at 12:22 a.m. What is that?
So we're now on February 4th to Tuesday at 12:22 a.m. The defendant's American Express was charged for $106. Candlewood Suites, located at 1953 North Cross Lane in Pensacola, Florida.
Why is the stop at that Candlewood Suites in Pensacola, Florida, significant for the investigation?
That's where Gannon would later be found, nearby under a bridge.
Okay. Let me ask you whether you know this or not. Was surveillance video, like we had the surveillance video from the Amarillo, Texas Candlewood Suites. Was there able to be video obtained from the Pensacola, Florida Candlewood Suites?
Unfortunately, there was not. It had already been overwritten.
Okay. The next entry is at 4:15 a.m. and it goes above the line to the cash report page 54. Why is that cash report page significant for this timeline?
So it shows the towers and sectors that service the Verizon phone number 2, that provide coverage to the Candlewood Suites where they stay the night. We've got 2 scheduled pings at 5:10 a.m. and 11:10 a.m. in the parking lot of the Candlewood Suites. But then we had one of those power-up events at 4:15 a.m. And here's where Gannon was later found, and here's where that power-up event occurred. And so sometime between 12:22 a.m., when the defendant checked into the hotel, and 4:15 a.m., the van had moved. It was less than...
Was it 1.8 miles from that point to where Gannon was?
It was less than 2 miles. It was 1.8 miles from that ping to where Gannon was found.
And actually, I think I took you down the wrong path. So the 1.8 miles, based on the cash page there, do you see the brackets?
That's from the hotel to the ping. It's less than 2 miles from the ping to where Gannon was found.
Okay. Just want to make sure we made that correction. The 5:10 a.m. to 11:10 a.m. Entry, what is that telling us?
Those are the scheduled every 6-hour pings, and those are technically in the Comfort Inn parking lot, but the Comfort Inn shares a parking lot with the Candlewood Suites when you look at it on a map.
So does that mean that the Candlewood Suites and that Comfort Inn are right next to each other?
Right next to each other with a shared parking lot.
All right. What about the address for that Comfort Inn? It says on the line on that entry 8080 North Davis Highway, Ferry Pass, Florida, whereas the Comfort Inn says 1953 North Cross Lane, Pensacola, Florida.
Sure. It's the same zip code. And so that's just how they're registered online with their address.
Okay.
I confirm they're right next to each other, and then one just faces one street for the addressing, and the other faces a southern street for the addressing.
Okay. The next entry is 11:44 a.m. What is that?
That's a financial. Harley goes in and buys breakfast at the McDonald's, which is like less than a block from that Candlewood Suites.
The next entry you have is a time zone change. Is that right?
That's correct. We go from Central Time to Eastern Time.
All right. The next timed entry you have is at 11:32 p.m. and it points upwards to a cast report page 56. Excuse me, page 56. Why is that cast report page significant for this timeline?
It corroborates what the van pings are saying with the call detail records, along with the financials, that the phones continue to travel down south and stays in the Orlando area.
And does the financial show a check-in at an Orlando hotel?
Yes, the Holiday Inn, 11:32 p.m. There's a $315.70.
Look how she's really focusing. She going back and forth. She's looking at it. She's like, how did he figure that out? I don't get it. I thought I did this. He shouldn't know where I was at. How did he pinpoint? This man really know what I did. God, dog, he got it good. Yeah, huh? That's what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why these people over here thinking they're going to get away with a crime. Especially murder. It's just not possible. You're going to get caught. Especially as cameras all over the place. You got DNA all over the place. All right. It's just not possible. You're going to get caught eventually. But Satan's daughter over here thought that she was different. You know, because see, when these people serving this, serving Lucifer, right? Lucifer tells me, I got you. Just do this. I'll take care of you. But don't realize when you dance with the devil, you're going to get burnt by the devil. It is what it is. Let's resume.
20-cent charge made to the Holiday Inn in Orlando, Florida.
Is that the last entry on this particular timeline?
Yes, this takes us through Tuesday, February 4th of 2020.
Okay. Moving on to People's Exhibit 702. Again, for reference purposes, what are the sources of information for People's Exhibit 702?
We still have defendant's phone number 2, the Verizon phone that she purchased at the Trinidad Walmart, as well as the scheduled and power-up pings off of the rental van that are in the cast report.
And then what are the relevant time spans for this particular exhibit?
So this goes from February 5th, which is a Wednesday, all the way till March 17th, 2020.
Does this cover then the time frame of when the defendant is ultimately arrested in South Carolina?
It does.
Does it stretch all the way to the point when Gannon's remains are found under that bridge?
It ends when we find Gannon.
Okay. So the first entry on this is what day and time?
So this is February 5th. It's a Wednesday, 2020.
And then you've got a line going up to cast report page 57. Why do you have that going up to that particular page at that time?
This shows where the van and the phone are at during this time.
Does this basically just show the van and the occupants, Harley, Hunt, and the defendant traveling from Orlando up to South Carolina?
It does. They stayed the full day in Orlando and then start traveling up Thursday the 6th to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They arrive and they return the van to the budget located at 1400 Cannon Road, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And the van was returned sometime before 6:10 p.m. because that's when it has every 6-hour scheduled ping.
And then for reference purposes, you have the line going above the timeline to cast report page 58. Does that corroborate the cast report page 58, returning the budget van at the budget rental place in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina?
It does. It also corroborates the residence that she was staying at for the interim at the Abernathy residence.
Okay. Will you just point that out on the map?
Sure, it's right up here.
Thank
So you have this tower with this sector that provides coverage to the Abernathy residence, and you have a van ping here.
Okay. And then moving on to the next entry on your map, or I'm sorry, on your timeline, February 8th, 2020. What is indicated on February 8th, 2020?
So the defendant gets her third phone, and we refer to this as her South Carolina phone.
And was that phone seized during the investigation?
It was on her arrest.
Did we have testimony from a detective that was involved in seizing that phone as well?
We did.
The next indicator is February 15th of 2020. You've got 2 entries on that. Explain what we're looking at there.
So the first one is we find the board with Gannon's bullet on it at the S-curve on the state on Saturday, February 15th of 2020. Also on this day, the defendant makes a post on her Facebook account. Do you want me to get into that?
Yeah, so that particular post, was that Exhibit 50 that was admitted during Mr. Stauch's testimony early on in this trial?
It was.
What does, was that a video?
It was a video.
Of what?
Gannon, when they're in Hawaii, he's waving and says goodbye and jumps off of a dock into the water below.
People's Exhibit, I'm sorry, February 18th on this timeline. You have an indicator there. What is that?
This is the
That was so low down and trifling of her. She's just pure evil. Reason.
first fake polygraph that the defendant tried to obtain. We heard the wire, the call, where they weren't going to release it because it violated their policy. And so that's when that happened.
And then February 19th entry, what is that?
That's when the note was created with the 5 altered questions that I talked about this morning from her South Carolina phone in the notes.
And that was Exhibit 692 that we admitted during your early portion of your testimony today?
It was.
Jumping to February 21st, you have 2 entries there. Explain the one on the left first.
The one on the left are some of the messages from the defendant to Nicole Mobley, who testified during this trial.
For reference purposes, was Nicole Mobley, remind everybody who Nicole Mobley was.
She was the one who kind of feigned a relationship with the defendant and told her whatever she wanted to hear in hopes to get information out of her over the Text Now app.
And those text messages that you're referring to that came from the defendant to Nicole Mobley, is that what we're looking at there?
Yes, not all of them, just a few.
And what do they say?
So the defendant sends a message to Nicole Mobley saying, "I need a witness that the guy left. I will do anything. I'm not asking you. I'm asking if you know anyone who will. I will give them my life, a reward, or whatever." And then in the second message, the defendant says he took a suitcase of things and made Gannon wrapped in his cover. And then the third message selected for this was, "What if you just said you remembered something suspicious after seeing this picture and explained the description and you didn't think it was relevant until now?" And those are all captured in exhibit number 233.
And exhibit 233, is that the total number of messages that went back and forth between the defendant and Nicole Mobley?
Those are all of them, yes.
Based on the context of that conversation in sum, what does it appear from your perspective to be occurring between the defendant and Nicole Mobley at this time?
The defendant is asking Ms. Mobley to lie for her to corroborate a lie to law enforcement.
And in the right side portion of February 21st, 2020, what do we have there?
That's when the second fake polygraph was done on her phone that I testified to earlier today.
Is that exhibit 692?
It is.
We then move on to March 2nd, 2020. What do we have indicated there?
That's when the defendant was taken into custody and charged with the murder of Gannon Stauch.
And then you have an indicator for an interview. Was that the interview conducted by Special Agent at the time, now retired, Jonathan Grusing?
That's correct.
And then the next entry on March 4th, 2020, what do we have there?
As the defendant was being transported back to Colorado Springs, she attacked one of our Paso County Sheriff's deputies. And that's the still from the GoPro just before the attack occurred.
During the portion of testimony from Dr. Torres late last week, the defendant made comments about this was Maria actually attacking the deputy. Any indication in that video that she was talking in a Spanish accent?
None.
Did she ever reference herself as Maria in that video?
No.
And then the last entry on March 17, 2020, what is that?
March 17th of 2020, we found Gannon.
All right. You know, may I approach and set up the easel? For purposes.
Who do I see just creeping through the back door on a Sunday? And blessings to you. Happy Sunday. All Ella Donna party for me. I'm over here. Sparkling. Oh, you working hard. Oh my gosh. Girl, I've been doing my spring clean. I got so much more to do. Oh, it's just never enough. Did you get to watch the movie? The movie we talking about? Did you get to watch it? Let me know. All right. Resume, ladies and gentlemen. But Melanie, let me know if it is gonna be what time, or anybody can let me know what time is it gonna be on Monday, the trial for Eastern time, because I'm Eastern. What time is it? Because I might stream it through the daytime, the verdict. All right, we will see. And the people that's coming, thank you for being here. Make sure you hit the like button. Feel free to engage. Or if you just want to sit back and listen, I completely understand. It's one of those laid back Sundays, you know, and all this kind of stuff. Let's resume.
Foundation. People's Exhibit 703, what is it?
It's some of the defendant's Google searches on her Colorado phone number 1.
And what is the date span of these searches?
January 21st of 2020 through January 29th of 2020.
January 29th for reference purposes. Is that when the defendant's phone was seized by law enforcement?
It was.
Is that why that's the end of the searches on this particular exhibit?
It is.
Is it fair and accurate?
It is.
And then as it relates to 722, 720, 721.
Melanie, that's 11 Eastern for me. 9 Mountain. Oh, this. You know what, Melanie? You killed me. Before I even asked the question, she already got it down pat. All right, 9 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's me. Woo, shout out to the Eastern. All right, 8 a.m. Pacific. Oh, yeah, I believe I might be able to do this. That would be perfect. So 11 a.m. my time. I'll set up something afterwards. Okay, let's get back to it. Thank you, Melanie.
722. What are these?
These are Google searches from the defendant's South Carolina phone number 3. 720 spans February 19th of 2020 through February 23rd of 2020. Exhibit 721 spans February 24th, 2020 through February 26th, 2020. And then Exhibit 722 are searches conducted from February 27th, 2020 through March 1st of 2020.
These all fair and accurate representations of searches that were found on the South Carolina seized phone.
Yes, phone number 3, the South Carolina phone.
This time I'd move for admission of these exhibits 720, 721, and 722 as it relates to the South Carolina phone. And then People's Exhibit 703 as it relates to the Colorado phone.
Mr. Cook,
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 703, 720, 721, 722 will be admitted. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. And permission to publish 703 at this time.
You may go.
Mr. Clark, what I'm going to have you do is start by just orienting the jury to what we're looking at, knowing that the jury will be able to take this back with them to the deliberation room at some point.
Sure.
So starting with 703, tell them about the different columns.
So on the far left, you have the date and the time that the search was made. And this is Colorado time because this is the Colorado phone. And so it's local time. And then on the right, you have the words typed for the actual search.
And then are these, I guess, can you tell the difference when you look at the download of the phone, whether searches have been deleted or whether they're still active on the phone?
Yes. So on the Colorado phone, there was just over 6,400 searches done during this time period of the phone download. She deleted about 4,500 of those. So we're left with about 2,000 searches that still have a date and a time component with the search. When you delete a search, the deleted search is still saved, but the metadata is stripped from it. So there's no date and time component. And so we don't know when the search was made. We just know that the search was made. And so just to keep it clean, we are only presenting the searches that we know when they were made.
And then as it relates to the searches that were referenced in Special Agent at the time, now retired, Jonathan Grusing, there were searches that were referenced in his interview. Were those deleted searches that he was referring to?
They were.
And so does that mean that they didn't have date and time stamps for when those searches were actually conducted?
That's correct.
Do we know, though, that those searches were conducted prior to January 29th, 2020, when the defendant's phone was seized?
They were, yes.
And then as it relates to, you said, I think roughly 2,000 undeleted searches on her Colorado iPhone. Did all of them have any relevance to the investigations that we have on People's Exhibit 703? Do they have relevance to this investigation?
They do.
Starting with the first entry, what I'd like to have you do is just tell us the date and
What Melody said, I'm absolutely the queen of Google, but she Googles far more than me. I can't. This woman is out of control. She really thought she was going to get away with it. She really did. And Jackie, when you said that statement, that it was, it's so sad, like how she was really going to go through this and be able to sleep at night. I forgot the exact words, but basically what you were saying was that she was able to live a lie, knowing she killed this little boy. And she would just went on with her life like nothing, been around her husband like nothing, comforting him. Oh, it's so sad or whatever. That's pure evil. See, this is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. You're working for the... Ooh, I see a BG creeping through the back door. I see you, girl. I see you. These people are just, working for the devil. That's all it is. Yeah, Jackie, she would have been able to sleep at night with no problem. She'd have been smiling, looking at her husband crying and stuff, comforting him, while she had that little smirk like, yeah. Sad. It really is sad. I really want to know how was she treating his daughter, the stepdaughter. I really would like to know, but I guess we'll never find that out. I'm very curious. The stepdaughter. What does she have to say? I mean, I was thinking too one time. I was like, look. Now the stepdaughter, if Gannon didn't complain, the stepdaughter probably complained and said, Daddy, she doesn't treat him right. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, I just get so annoyed with some of these things because I know these kids had to been screaming for help. That's her brother. She loved him. Let's say she was treating her nice. Sometimes these sick people do. They'll treat one kid so nice and treat the other one bad. But I could see her saying something like, Daddy, she treats him mean. You understand? Tell me in the comments. Or the people's watching replay. Let me know. I think of all angles. I don't just look at the surface. I go deep beyond. How did it all start? There's something to think about. All right, let's get back to it. Resume.
in time of that first entry?
Sure. So the first one we selected, this goes in chronological order. And it's also important to note that all of these were searched at least once. So the first one was January 21st at 9:05 p.m. The defendant searched Landon Marie Hoyt.
Is that Hyatt?
I'm sorry, Hyatt. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just so the record is clear, spell the name.
Landeen. Marie is Marie, and Hyatt is Hiott.
What is the next search?
Same day, but at 9:10 p.m., so 5 minutes later, U-Haul truck rental.
The next search?
9:12 p.m., U-Haul trucks rates Colorado Springs, Colorado to Orlando, Florida on January 22nd of 2020.
There was a reference in text messages that we went through on the timeline where the defendant said, I should have left last week when I was, do you remember that search?
I do.
Does that coincide with what we're seeing here, that the defendant is searching for U-Haul trucks to go to Florida?
Correct.
And is this roughly a week prior to Gannon being missing?
It is.
The next entry, what is that?
9:14 p.m., another search was made, U-Haul truck rates Colorado Springs, Colorado to Orlando, Florida on February 6th, 2020.
I'm trying not to keep pausing, but I have to at times with y'all comments. Nell Gigi said Google was her diary. Yes, it was. It was her diary. Oh my gosh. Resume.
And so the actual date of that search, though, was at January 21st, 2020 also.
It was made a couple minutes after the previous one for the rates on January 22nd.
Are there two searches next that occurred on January 24th, 2020?
Yes.
Tell us the time of each one of those two searches.
7:32 p.m., jobs, employment in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina using Indeed.com. And then 8:01 p.m., sometimes you just leave and take, it's misspelled. It's spelled Notijig. I'm assuming that means take nothing.
Is that based off the context of the search term?
Yes.
Are there then now a bunch of text messages, I'm sorry, not text messages, searches on the defendant's Colorado phone that occur on January 25th of 2020?
Yes.
Tell us the first one and what time that occurred and what it is.
First one occurred at 8:48 a.m. and it's jobs, employment in Los Angeles, California using Indeed.com.
What's the next one on January 25th?
January 25th is 12:16 p.m. Now this is Saturday before Al flies to Oklahoma. So Saturday the 25th at 12:16 p.m. Find real military singles was searched.
Is there another search at 12:16 p.m. as well?
There is military dating and singles at militarycupid.com.
What's the next search on January 25th of 2020?
1:40 p.m. The search was parenting should be 4 people, not 1.
What's the next search on January 25th, 2020, and what time?
Also 1:40 p.m. I'm overdoing all the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help.
What's the next search?
Okay, I want to rewind these searches because it's really interesting, and I'm gonna slow it down just one notch. How I'm gonna slow it down? I'm gonna slow it down to 1.25. I know it get confusing, especially replay watch. You get confused, but that's okay. Just change your settings. You'll catch up. You'll catch up. All right, let's get it.
Is that Hyatt?
I'm sorry, Hyatt. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just so the record is clear, spell the name.
Landeen. Marie is Marie, and Hyatt is Hiott.
What is the next search?
Same day, but at 9:10 p.m., so 5 minutes later, U-Haul truck rental.
The next search?
9:12 p.m., U-Haul trucks rates Colorado Springs, Colorado to Orlando, Florida on January 22nd of 2020.
There was a reference in text messages that we went through on the timeline where the defendant said, I should have left last week when I was, do you remember that search?
I do.
Does that coincide with what we're seeing here, that the defendant is searching for U-Haul trucks to go to Florida?
Correct.
And is this roughly a week prior to Gannon being missing?
It is.
The next entry, what is that?
9:14 p.m., another search was made, U-Haul truck rates Colorado Springs, Colorado to Orlando, Florida on February 6th, 2020.
And so the actual date of that search, though, was at January 21st, 2020 also.
It was made a couple minutes after the previous one for the rates on January 22nd.
Are there two searches next that occurred on January 24th, 2020?
Yes.
Tell us the time of each one of those two searches.
7:32 p.m., jobs, employment in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina using Indeed.com. And then 8:01 p.m., sometimes you just leave and take, and it's misspelled. It's spelled Notijig. I'm assuming that means take nothing.
Is that based off the context of the search term?
Yes.
Are there then now a bunch of text messages, I'm sorry, not text messages, searches on the defendant's Colorado phone that occur on January 25th of 2020?
Yes.
Tell us the first one and what time that occurred and what it is.
First one occurred at 8:48 a.m. and it's jobs, employment in Los Angeles, California using Indeed.com.
What's the next one on January 25th?
January 25th is 12:16 p.m. Now this is Saturday before Al flies to Oklahoma. So Saturday the 25th at 12:16 p.m. Find real military singles was searched.
Is there another search at 12:16 p.m. as well?
There is military dating and singles at militarycupid.com.
What's the next search on January 25th of 2020?
1:40 p.m. The search was parenting should be 4 people, not 1.
What's the next search on January 25th, 2020, and what time?
Also 1:40 p.m. I'm over doing all the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help.
What's the next search on January 25th, 2020, and what time?
It's at 1:48 p.m. and it reads, if you aren't involved in your kid's life, you are shitty.
What's the next search on January 25th, 2020, and what time?
1:49 p.m. My husband's ex-wife does nothing for her lids.
Based on context, what do you think that the lids actually meant?
Should be kids.
Is it a typo basically on the searcher's part?
Yes.
The next search on January 25th, 2020, what time and what did it say?
1:51 p.m. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a Valentine's card since I raise her kids.
Does that coincide with what we talked about earlier with text messages from the defendants originating from the defendant's phone having periods instead of spaces sometimes?
Yes, primarily happens in a lot of the searches with the periods in between.
Okay. What is the next search on January 25th of 2020 and what time?
1:54 p.m. One day, some people will wish they treated you differently.
What is the next search on January 25th, 2020 and what time?
7:57 p.m. Find me a rich guy who, wants me to take care of his kids.
What is the next search on January 25th, 2020 and what time?
7:58 p.m. Find a guy who wants me to take care of, his kids and get paid.
What is the next search on January 25th of 2020?
It's at 9:11 p.m. and it's apartments for rent in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on Trulia.com.
What is the next search on January 25th, 2020?
9:13 p.m. 1 bed, 1 bath apartments for rent in Fort Lauderdale, also on Trulia.
What is the next search on January 25th, 2020 and what time?
9:15 p.m. Craigslist, South Florida job.
I see you creeping through the back door, hanging with Mr. J. Hanging with Mr. J. And blessings to you and happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Good to see you. All right, resume.
Jobs, apartments, for sale, services, community, and events.
What is the next search on January 25th, 2020 and what time?
Still 9:15 p.m. South Florida rooms and shares on the Craigslist website.
The next one on January 25th, 2020 and what time?
9:20 p.m. South Florida jobs, in quotes, teacher on Craigslist.
The next search on
Okay, they mighty close over there. Satan's daughter and her lawyer. Look at it. Just look at it. He just smiling and giggling and stuff. Coo hee hee ha. And look at the other lawyer. He's like, why'd I get stuck with this crap? Look at him. He's like, why? Is this really happening? Is he over there kikiing with this girl? Do you know what she did to her stepson? What the heck is wrong with you? Why did they have me working with this guy? I knew he was an idiot when I first seen him. Let's get back to it.
January 25th, 2020 and what time?
9:47 p.m. Orlando jobs, Disney, in quotes, on Craigslist.
During the course of the investigation, did it become clear to you that the defendant had an affinity for Disney and Disney characters?
Yes.
The next search on January 24th, 2020?
9:49 p.m. Orlando jobs, in quotes, measure on Craigslist.
The next search on January 24th, 2020?
25th. Still 9:49 p.m. Orlando jobs, cruise port, in quotes, also on Craigslist.
What did I say?
I think you said 24th.
Okay. And you corrected me to the 25th. Thank you. What's the next search on January 25th, 2020?
9:49 p.m. Orlando jobs, airport, in quotes, on Craigslist.
Based on all these searches for apartments and jobs in the Florida area, to your belief, did it appear that the defendant was trying to look for a way to move from Colorado and go to Florida without the family?
Right. 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartment for rent. That means you're not moving a family of 5.
And then do we have searches, 3 searches that occurred on January 27, 2020?
We do.
Tell me the first one on January 27, 2020.
12:09 a.m. My son, burned the carpet. How, do I fix it?
Is there a period between the fix and the
There is. I just couldn't see it from this angle. How do I fix, it?
And then the next search on January 27, 2020, what is it and what time?
1:03 a.m. Son sick. Can he stay, home?
And then the next search on January 27, 2020, what time?
2:42 a.m. Craigslist, Orlando, Florida, jobs, apartments, for sale, services, community, and events.
And for context purposes, is January 27th, later that day, the day that the defendant called 911 to report Gannon as a runaway.
Correct.
We have then several searches on January 28th, 2020. Is that correct?
There are, yes.
What is the first one on January 28th, 2020?
4:15 a.m. What is the process for our runaway?
The next search on January 28th, 2020?
4:16 a.m. Police steps for period our missing child.
The next search on January 28th, 2020?
This was the 7:17 a.m. one. Find cheap rental car deals on Priceline.
Does this coincide essentially with the defendant renting that Kia Rio at the Colorado Springs airport on this particular day?
Correct.
The next search on January 28th, 2020?
8:17 a.m. $37 a day compact car.
And then the final search on January 28th, 2020?
12:57 p.m. Can Nintendo find my Switch?
And then now do we have two searches on January 29th?
Correct.
Tell us the first search on January 29th.
What is wrong with this lawyer? Does he know exactly what he's doing? He really just don't care. This is insane. And look at the people in the back. Even though it's a little fuzzy, but you can tell they all looking over here like, what the hell is going on? Excuse my language. This is insane. This is truly insane. All right, resume.
29th as it's relevant to this investigation.
Both were at 2:34 a.m. And the first one reads, I want immunity because it was gang related. And the second one is this GregHillAssociates.com. She read an article about be careful about being granted immunity and not testifying.
And does that immunity theme come up in the recorded phone calls between the defendant and Mr. Stauch during those consensually recorded phone calls that we heard testimony from?
Numerous times.
All right. I'm going to switch out the exhibits and move on to People's Exhibit 720.
Are y'all seeing this? You see this, right? This is crazy. Wow. Now this guy here, this lawyer with the blue jacket, if he's married, I wonder what his wife have to say about this. Because I'm going to tell you something. If I see this and my husband acting like this, oh, we got problems. Oh, yeah. We need to really sit down and talk. I'm going to have to check him. Are you kidding me? Or even if it's my man, I'm going to have to check him too. No. We don't do this. Resume.
Remind us first, before we get started on People 720, the date range that we're going to be looking at for the searches here.
So this is from phone number 3, the South Carolina phone. And it's from February 19th to February 23rd, 2020. There were just over 1,300 searches during this time period on her South Carolina phone. We were able to get that down to 377 unique searches. And out of those 377, we're going to show you 96 that are relevant to this case.
All right. Do we have, it looks like, 5 searches that are relevant to this investigation that occurred on February 19th of 2020?
That's correct.
Tell us the first search on February 19th, 2020, and what time?
1:22 p.m., the defendant searched crime online.
What is crime on?
I know I keep pausing, but this is really annoying. Melanie says she better keep her hands above the table. He seemed like one of those nasty, slick type of guys. He'll do something with her. If he had the opportunity, and she'll do it too. She'll just jump on her knees. This is sick. And let me rephrase. If it's my husband, yeah, I have to check him and talk. If it's my man, I'll just let him know. But I'm going to have to dump him. You got to go. I'm sitting here watching you. You kicking and hollering. You know what she did with this? What? This is not professional at all. What's going on? Do you do this with your clients all the time? Let me know, because I don't feel comfortable with it. I'm not trying to change you from doing you. I don't have to accept it. Yeah, I said it. Let's get back. Oh, let me see what Mr. J have to say. What is he laughing for? What is so? Yeah, it's what. Mr. J, he came in hard. Exactly. Well, what is the joke? Did we miss something? The guy's reading the Google searches. We looking at it. I don't see nothing funny about this. Where's the joke at? Good question. Where's the joke? Where is it? Both of them should be ashamed of themselves. Exactly. Look at this. Shaking my head. What's going on here? This is insane. Nail Gigi said, I heard he wasn't wearing his ring that day either. Oh! See, now we really got a problem. That was my husband. You not wearing your ring? Oh, we got a problem. Oh, yes. We're going to have a serious talk. Yeah, well, what's so funny? I don't see nothing funny. Ain't nobody else in that courtroom laughing. You see anybody else laughing? All right, Melanie says, rumors has it that... Oh, let me see what my girl says over here. She got the tea. All right, rumor has it that some YouTube lawyers wrote letters of complaints to the bar. Oh, judge said nothing. But if he says something, it gets on the record, and the record is all that matters for the appeal. Yeah, because you know what? I believe the judge sees it and he wants to say something, but he's just trying to be careful because he want to make sure this woman just goes under the jail. You know, that kind of thing. All right, let's get back to it. While we're here, let me pause a second. Let me read the votes. All right. We have 17 votes, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think the verdict will be? 29% says not guilty. Oh, I spelled it wrong, but whatever. Not guilty, insane. 59% says guilty. 12% says, I'm not sure, Donna. Still thinking. We don't know. All right. Now, let's get back to it.
Line, do you know?
It's the Nancy Grace show for nationwide exposure crimes.
And was there reference to the defendant being in contact with the Nancy Grace show during some of these recorded phone calls that we heard?
Alleged, we don't have any proof that that the defendant spoke with Nancy Grace.
What is the next search on February 19th of 2020?
At 3:49 p.m., Palmer, period, Harold, period, Colorado, period, Springs.
Is Harold misspelled there?
It is. It's HEARLD.
What is Palmer Herald, Colorado Springs?
It's the newspaper up in Palmer Lake area.
So does that indicate to you that the defendant was searching for news in the Palmer Lake area, which would cover the area where the board was found?
It was. This is during our search operations up there. The defendant was very interested in lots of local.
Even whoever's the cameraman, they zooming into it because they know this is crazy. And I feel so sorry for the other lawyer, the one with the lavender tie. Oh, I love the tie. I feel so sorry for him. He's probably so embarrassed. Look at his skin's turning red. He is so embarrassed. Like, are you kidding me? And he probably talked to him on the side. And you know, he's probably one of those dudes, don't tell me what to do. What do you think, you all that? Well, I know they didn't go to happy hour together, right, ladies and gentlemen? They didn't go together. This is crazy. All right, let's get back to it. I'll keep my mouth shut. I'll try to.
News, monitoring what our investigative tactics were at the time.
And then what is the next search on February 19th, 2020?
7:22 p.m. Does text-free show location?
What is text-free?
That's the app that the defendant requested Nicole Mobley download so they could communicate with each other, and where the defendant sent those messages to Nicole Mobley.
The fact that she's searching for does text-free show location, in your mind, does that indicate an awareness of investigative efforts and efforts on her part to evade those investigative efforts?
Absolutely.
What is the next search on February 19th of 2020?
7:43 p.m. How can I make my phone's IP period address hidden?
Is address misspelled?
It is ADREES.
Again, similar to that last question, does this also indicate to you that the defendant appears to have some knowledge that she's wanting to hide information from the investigation?
That's correct.
What is the next search on February 19th, 2020?
8:11 p.m., the search was send a fake email.
And then do we have two searches on February 20th, 2020?
We do.
What is the first search on February 20th of 2020?
At 6:51 a.m., how long will fingerprints stay on an object?
What is the next search on February 20th, 2020?
8:49 p.m., I need a fake ID that's legit.
Then do we have a bunch of searches on February 21st, 2020 that are relevant for this investigation?
We do.
What is the first one on February 21st?
6:43 a.m., children trafficking to, period, Mexico, period, from, period, and it's misspelled Colorado. It's spelled COLOROSDO.
And does this roughly coincide with references by the defendant in some of these recorded consensual phone calls that were recorded by the FBI, indicating that Gannon may have been trafficked to Mexico?
Yes.
What is the next search on February 21st, 2020?
6:54 a.m., I need a criminal polygraph.
And the next one on February 21st, 2020?
A few minutes later at 7:08 a.m., I need a fake criminal polygraph.
The next one on February 21st, 2020?
7:21 a.m., fake polygraph test.
The next one on February 21st, 2020?
7:35 a.m., can you get away with fake lie detector? And it's misspelled DETEXTR website.
These searches for needing a criminal polygraph, fake criminal polygraph, and can you get away with a fake lie detector test? Does this indicate, in your mind, that the defendant had some awareness of trying to evade the investigation in this case?
Yes.
What is the next search on February 21st, 2020?
9:52 a.m., Gannon Stauch, El Paso, period, searching in landfill.
Was there in fact searches of landfills trying to locate Gannon's remains?
There were.
Was that publicized?
Briefly, if I recall right.
And then what is the next search on February 21st, 2020?
11:26 a.m., search efforts for Gannon Stauch.
The next one on February 21st, 2020?
6:46 p.m., I need, and it's misspelled MEED, to change my look to hide.
And the next search on February 21st, 2020?
6:47.
Wait a minute, this needs to stop. I'm getting annoyed. It's like I want to reach through the screen and I want to pull her by her hair, tell her to sit up and stay up. And I want to know who's this woman because she need to dump him because you got a problem right there. That's a red flag. Oh, it's something wrong with your man. He don't just flirt with women. He can flirt with his clients. That she confessed. She said she did it. So it's not like, oh, you don't know she did it. She said she did. What are you flirting with her for? What's all this kiki hollering and laughing and giggling? Are you kidding me? Look at everybody in the back. They all looking at them. They're not even paying this man no attention who's talking. I done lost what he's talking about, I'll tell you the truth, because I'm so much looking at this. I don't know what he's saying. I'm going to have to look back at this again. I'm not going to rewind it now, but I'm going to have to go back and look at it because I don't even know what he's talking about. I'm so busy looking at this. The cameraman is zooming in because he's trying to figure it out too. Are you kidding me? All right, Melly says, I predict Will Cook is on a massive job search starting Tuesday morning. And a new woman too. Because she a fool to stay, but she'll probably stay. You know, you got some, women out here. It's just sad. All right, Jackie says, I would have gotten the shoe from a mother if I acted like that on church. Yeah. And this is a murder trial, lawyers and defendant. I can't believe this. You see this, Jackie? This is insane. All right, let's get back to it. This is crazy. Maria did it. Oh. I caught you now, Gigi. Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's get back to it. Let's try to finish this. They need to stop. Where's the mother at? Melanie, somebody tell me, where is the biological mother? Because I thought it was her. I thought it was her right here. But it's not her. Is she in this little area here somewhere? Oh, boy. All right, let's get back to it.
p.m., face disguise.
The next search on February 21st, 2020?
6:49 p.m., full face and then change, but it's misspelled CHAMGE.
And the next search on February 21st, 2020?
6:51 p.m. First face transplant woman.
The next search on February 21st, 2020?
Also 6:51 p.m. Full face transplant.
The next search on February 21st, 2020?
6:51 p.m. Face, but it's misspelled FAVE. Transplant near me.
The next search on February 21st, 2020?
6:53 p.m. Full face plastic surgery.
The next search on February 21st, 2020?
6:56 p.m. Full face plastic surgery Atlanta.
Those searches as it relates to this plastic surgery, face transplant, and that sort of thing, in your mind, did that indicate an effort to change her appearance to evade the investigation?
Yes.
What is the next search on February 21st, 2020?
7:23 p.m. Need a guy who wants me to move in.
The next search on February 21st, 2020?
7:24 p.m. Find a man with a place to let me move in.
And then do we have, let me see, 4 searches on February 22nd, 2020?
Yes.
What is the first one?
9:50 a.m. Change my facial appearance, but appearance is misspelled APPEARMCE.
And the next search on February 22nd, 2020?
Also at 9:50 a.m. Drastic ways to change your appearance.
The next search on February 22nd, 2020?
2 minutes later, see what my face will, but misspelled SILL, period, be with plastic surgery.
And the next search on February 22nd, 2020?
Also at 9:52, plastic surgery, Myrtle Beach, SC.
Did this indicate to you that the defendant is still indicating a willingness or want to change her appearance to evade the investigation?
Yes,
And then do we have 4 searches on February 23rd, 2020?
we do.
What is the first one?
3:08 a.m. Gannon Stauch found.
Was he found on February 23rd?
No.
What's the next search on February 23rd, 2020?
8:24 a.m. Replacement passport.
The next search on February 23rd, 2020?
3:15 p.m. Shock from period. Watching someone get shot.
Is someone misspelled?
Yes, it's spelled SOMEOKE.
Is this the first indication that we have, well, let me back up a little bit. Gannon's body still had not been found by this time, right?
Not yet.
Is this the first indication that we have of consciousness by the defendant of Gannon being shot?
Yes.
And then the final search on February 23rd, 2020.
5:13 p.m. Face mask that looks real to disguise.
Is that the last search on that exhibit?
Yes.
We'll switch them out and move on to 721. What are the date ranges for People's Exhibit 721?
So again, still from the South Carolina phone number 3. February 24th, 2020 through February 26th, 2020.
We have what looks to be 7 searches on February 24th, 2020.
Yes.
What is the first one?
9:14 a.m. GoFundMe, Tisha and Harley support, but support is spelled AUPPORT.
And the next search on February 24th, 2020.
1:23 p.m. How long does it take to get DNA?
Next search on February 24th, 2020.
1:24 p.m. How long does it take to get DNA from crime?
And the next search on February 24th, 2020.
Also 1:24 p.m. How long does it take to get DNA results from a crime scene?
The next search on February 24th, 2020.
1:26 p.m. How long does it take police to get DNA results?
The next search on February 24th, 2020.
1:39 p.m. How long does it take police to get DNA results in Colorado?
And then the final search on February 24th, 2020.
1:39 p.m. How long does it take police to get DNA results in Colorado Springs?
And then are there 5 searches of relevance to this investigation that occurred on February 25th of 2020?
There are.
What is the first one?
5:49 a.m. Make a security video.
And the next one on February 25th, 2020?
Also at 5:49 a.m. Make a security video past tense.
As it relates to that particular search, in your mind, does it appear that somebody is trying to create what would look like an old security video to throw off the investigation?
And alter it to whatever narrative you want to fit. Yes.
Okay. The next search on February 25th, 2020?
4:12 p.m. I need a new social security number to hide.
The next search on February 25th, 2020?
4:28 p.m. Apply for a social if I lived on an Indian reservation.
And then the final search on February 25th, 2020?
6:56 p.m. Cadaver dog.
And then the remainder of the searches on this exhibit 721, do they all occur on February 26th of 2020?
They do.
All right, let's start with the first one. What is it?
6:18 a.m. Do they check in ditches under bridges?
The next search on February 26th, 2020?
6:18 a.m. Maintenance under ditches under bridges.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
6:57 a.m. Can I get a plea with no jail time? The time is misspelled, just IME.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
7 a.m. Criminally negligent homicide in Colorado.
The words criminally negligent homicide, are those very specific words that people familiar with the criminal justice system would be more aware of than regular people in the community? He's a crime analyst, Judge.
Yeah, but I don't know that you would need to lay some different foundation for his knowledge of general community versus, I guess not general or legal community, I guess.
I'll withdraw the question, Judge.
Okay.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
7:30 a.m. Can I find a rich guy?
The next search on, I'm not sure what's so funny over here, Judge, but a lot of interruptions coming from my left. The next search on February 26, 2020.
8:10 a.m. Can they trace Snapchat?
The next search on February 26, 2020.
8:30 a.m. Colorado closed cases.
Is Colorado spelled correctly?
No, it's misspelled COLROADO.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
Also 8:30 a.m. Colorado misspelled COLROADO. Springs misspelled SPRINGS. Closed murder cases.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
8:33 a.m. Drug cartels in Colorado Springs.
Does this coincide with those consensually recorded phone calls that the FBI was involved with, wherein the defendant starts to introduce the idea that potentially a drug cartel was involved with Gannon's disappearance?
Yes.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
8:48 a.m. Make my phone get a call, misspelled, just CAL, from Mexico.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
8:51 a.m. Fake a call, period, from Mexico, period. Drug, misspelled, SRUG, cartel.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
Also 8:51 a.m. Fake a call from Mexico, drug cartel.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
8:53 a.m. Bluff my call app.
Are you familiar with what that means, Bluff My Call app?
I am.
What is that?
It's an app you can download that makes a different phone number show up on the caller ID of the recipient's phone.
Is that typically used in your experience to trick somebody into not knowing who is making a phone call?
I've seen it a couple of times in like stalking cases where they use this app or an app very similar to it to mask their number.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
8:54 a.m. What are some Mexican drug, misspelled SRUG, cartel phone numbers?
The next search on February 26, 2020.
9:13 a.m. What do they do when they find a person body in another misspelled ANITHER state?
The next search on February 26, 2020.
9:13 a.m. How do, period, they identify, misspelled IDENIFY, bodies found, misspelled FOUN, in another state?
And the next search on February 26, 2020.
9:33 a.m. Make a fake Snapchat video.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
10:45 a.m. Can the FBI go, period, to, period, Los Canos?
What is Los Canos?
I think it's a city in Mexico.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
10:53 a.m. Create a recording of someone's voice and change the words. And create is misspelled CREAT.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
10:55 a.m. Add someone's voice in a video.
Is someone's misspelled?
It is SOMEOMES.
Does this indicate to you that whoever is doing these searches is trying to change a video
Correct.
to add voices that weren't necessarily caught on the video?
Correct.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
10:56 a.m. Change someone's words in a video.
The next search on February 26, 2020.
2:38 p.m. Bahamas marriage certificate.
And the final search on February 26, 2020.
2:40 p.m. I need a fake marriage license.
Is that the last search on People's Exhibit 721?
It is.
I'll switch them out and put up 722. If I don't take out a light first. What are the date ranges for People 722?
The date ranges are February 27th through March 1st. And this is still off of phone number 3, the South Carolina phone.
Are there 7 searches that occurred on February 27th, 2020?
There are.
What is the first search?
7:03 a.m. How do police tell whose body has been found?
Considering the circumstances in this case where Gannon's body had not been found for a number of days, almost 2 full months, does that seem to indicate, from your perspective, some knowledge that it's going to be difficult to identify Gannon's remains?
It indicates to me that there's research being done to see how difficult it would be.
What is the next search on February 27, 2020?
7:58 a.m. Can God help me escape jail time? And escape is misspelled ESCAOE.
The next search on February 27, 2020.
8:05 a.m. How do, period, they identify whose, misspelled WHOS, blood is at the scene?
The next search on February 27, 2020.
8:35 a.m. Find people who want to go to, period, jail.
The next search on February 27, 2020.
8:58 a.m. Spanish girl names.
Is Maria Sanchez a Spanish girl name?
Very traditional, yes.
Is Little Lucia potentially a Spanish girl name?
Lucia is, yes.
The next search on February 27, 2020.
9:04 a.m. Petco, Nevada, Colorado Springs.
Was that a point of reference in this investigation?
3 times.
And then the final search on February 27, 2020, what is it?
10 a.m. Find an immigrant who will admit to a crime.
And then are there a number, let me count them, 11 searches that occurred on February 28th
There are?
that are relevant to this investigation.
Yes.
What is the first one on February 28th, 2020?
7:02 a.m. How long does a body start to decompose in a bag?
Does that indicate specific knowledge about the condition in which Gannon's body was packaged and discarded?
Yes.
In what way?
He was found in a suitcase.
The next search on February 28th, 2020?
7:03 a.m. What does, misspelled WGATFOES, what does a dead body look like after a month?
And is this basically 1 month after Gannon had went missing?
Yes.
What is the next search on February 28th, 2020?
7:04 a.m. What does a dead body look like after a month, spelled correctly this time?
And the next search on February 28th, 2020?
8:12 a.m. Active drug, misspelled DRIG, cartels in Mexico.
The next search on February 28th, 2020?
8:23 a.m. Bluff my call free.
What is the next search on February 28th, 2020?
8:33 a.m. Address of, period, drug cartels, and drug is misspelled DEUG.
And then the next search, what is it on February 28th, 2020?
8:36 a.m. Current drug cartels, misspelled DEIG, in Colorado, misspelled COLORAOD, Springs, misspelled SPRINSG.
What is the next search on February 28th, 2020?
7:44 p.m. How, period, does the FBI find people, and people's misspelled PEOOPLE?
Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case?
Oh, she found out.
What is the next search on February 28th, 2020?
7:49 p.m. How, period, does the FBI find fugitives?
And the final search on February 28th, 2020?
7:49 p.m. Well, and there's 2 more.
I'm sorry.
How, period, does the FBI find fugitives? And then how fugitives avoid capture?
Are those both at 7:49 p.m.?
Correct.
And then do we have now 3 searches that occurred on February 29th, 2020?
We do.
What is the first one?
Casey Anthony,
What time was that?
6:27 a.m.
And just for reference sake, who is Casey Anthony?
Casey Anthony was a wildly in the news case where Casey Anthony is a mom who stood trial for the murder of her young daughter, Kaylee.
And then the next search on February 29th, 2020?
6:29 a.m. Casey Anthony and Patrick McKenna.
Do you have any idea who Patrick McKenna is?
I don't.
And then this next and final search on February 29th, 2020 that is relevant to this investigation.
1:30 p.m. When does FBI take over a case?
And then the final searches on this exhibit 722, do they all occur on March 1st, 2020 as it's relevant to this case?
They do.
What is the first one on March 1st, 2020?
3:58 p.m. How to make my fingerprints not scan.
The next search on March 1st, 2020?
4:03 p.m. Fingerprint rubber.
What is that a reference to based on the way you take that?
Trying to get fake fingerprints, so your fingerprints can't be identified.
Okay. And then the final search on March 1st, 2020.
4:03 p.m. Fingerprint rubber to make fingerprint.
May I have just a moment?
Right.
All right, that's all the questions I have for Mr. Clark at this time.
Mr. Cook?
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cook.
I just have a few questions. You mentioned Dr. Torres. You were asked a question about Dr. Torres who testified. And did you see the interview? Were you in the courtroom when the Dr. Torres or Mr. Allen or Mr. Young was playing the CH or CMHIP interviews with Ms. Stauch?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Was Dr. Torres, was she one of the individuals that was asking the questions and I guess was behind the glass on the interviews you watched?
Yes.
Okay. And was that at CMHIP? Is that Colorado Mental Health Institute at Pueblo?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And was Miss Stauch shackled in that video that you, as far as you could tell?
She was.
Okay. And is CMHIP, is that a facility? Is that a lockdown facility? I mean, people just don't come and go as they please. It's a lockdown facility.
I would expect it to be, but I've never been there, so I don't know.
All right. And talking about bath salts,
Mhm.
way back this morning, what is your understanding of what bath salts are? Are we talking about, I'm having a tough day, I'm going to get some Epsom salt with eucalyptus in it and take a long hot bath? Is that what you mean when you're saying bath salts?
I think that's the general term. Yeah, you pour it into a bath. It's supposed to help relax or de-stress, things like that.
Okay. And were you aware of the other connotation or the other meaning behind bath salts a few years ago?
I'm aware that people were smoking it, and it was called the zombie drug.
Okay. Now, were they smoking the Epsom salt bath salts, or were they smoking a synthetic stimulant that's now been outlawed?
That's my understanding. The second one.
Okay, so when you say the zombie drug, we're not talking about people have found another use for Epsom salt and they're ingesting it some way. We're talking about a slang name for a totally different drug.
I
Is that
believe so.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I've never seen it, but yeah, that's how I understand it.
Okay. And in the Volkswagen Tiguan, was there ever any DNA of Gannon's found in that vehicle?
I don't recall.
Okay. And do you know if it was tested for DNA?
I don't recall.
And the exhibits we've just been looking at on the boards, and I was looking on my computer. Now, you just put up what you believe to be relevant to the investigation.
Yes.
Okay, so if there were hundreds or thousands of different messages or searches being done, how many? Let's see. Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
On February 27th, I did not see these.
Oh, sure.
On February 27th, if we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if we've got 7 searches that were done on February 27th, 2020, that were relevant to the investigation, like on the 28th, there were probably 10 or 12 or 13. So let's say an average of 10 searches a day that were relevant. How many of those do you think were irrelevant?
Sure. So from the South Carolina phone, there were just over 1,300 total searches.
Okay.
We narrowed that down to 377 unique searches. And out of that, we presented 96 searches. So whatever 96 divided by 377 is, that's your percentage.
Okay. Which is what?
I don't know.
It's too late in the day for me
Yes, sir.
to do complex arithmetic. So there was a lot of stuff that absolutely did not relate to this. The vast majority of the searches or the information you got was not related to this investigation, correct?
Sure. Out of the 377, we selected 96 to present.
Just a second. Mr. Clark, that's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Redirect.
No, don't need it, Judge. Thank you.
Do any of the jurors have any questions for Mr. Clark? Looks like we have one coming. Counsel approach, please. And this is easy for me to say. To clarify, were the messages saying she left her phone at home sent from defendant's phone or Gannon's phone?
Those came from the defendant's phone saying something effective. I left my phone at home. If you need to reach me, try to reach out on my watch. It may stay connected to Gannon's phone. And then we see them leave approximately 15 minutes later.
I will reasonable follow-up as to that question only. Prosecution.
Thank you.
Defense.
Thank you.
Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our evening break. If I can have all of you in the place that you need to be so that we can start at 9 o'clock in the morning. We should be able to start on time. Again, don't discuss the case among yourselves. Don't discuss the case with anyone else. Don't do your own independent research about any aspect of this case. And with that, we will see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. All rise for the jury, please.
Why is she smirking like that? Why is she still smiling? This is crazy. All right, so I guess this is the end here. Wait a minute. No, I think they might have questions. I don't know. Just give me a second here. Let me figure out what it is. All right, yeah, it's a little bit more. All right. And then we wrap it up.
Thank you. May all be seated. Record let the jury has left the courtroom. Mr. Clark, you can go ahead and step down now.
Thank you, sir.
Jackie, I'm trying to figure that out too. What is it? Who is your woman? If she see this, she need to dump you. And if you're married, she need to check your This is crazy. Resume.
Counsel and Deputy Robinson, approach, please.
Oh, we want to hear. We want to hear. No, that's not fair. We want to hear. Is that it? Oh, no, there's more. We want to hear. That's not fair. This is crazy. All right, let's see what happens. Let's go back.
Prosecution, where are we?
So basically, Judge, we're prepared to rest. We obviously need to do that in front of the jury.
Right.
What I'd like to do before we do that, Judge, we can either do it this evening before we leave for the night or tomorrow morning, is just do an audit on the exhibits that were admitted to make sure that we're all squared away as far as that goes. So I'd leave it to your preference whether you want to do that today or tomorrow.
I will give the list again to Ms. Gratiano. I think she's the one that's doing the heavy lifting on your side. So I will give that to her, and we can check it tomorrow morning and see where we are before we start tomorrow, and go from there. So you would rest. You have your witness, Dr. Lewis, ready to go first thing in the morning?
Dr. Niederhauser
Oh,
first.
okay.
Dr. Niederhauser is about 30 to 45 minutes.
Right. Okay, and she's going to be bound by the 2-year regulations. Is that what the issue is? That she's got?
Niederhauser, yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Niederhauser.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, she shouldn't be very long then, I would think. Okay. Okay, then we will see everybody tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock and see where we are.
So before we go to that, Judge, I think Mr. Young wants to make for the record on the Dr. Lewis situation that came up from earlier this
Yes,
morning.
go ahead.
Thanks, Judge. I did get an email from Mr. Tellini. I just want to read it into the record and give the court an idea of what this email is.
Okay.
I don't consider it to be a report, but it reads as follows. Dr. Lewis and I visited with Ms. Stauch yesterday for around 3 hours. The conversation consisted primarily just going over her version of events. There was also talk about a softball injury Ms. Stauch suffered in high school, where she suffered a concussion and had her teeth knocked out. Obviously, that goes directly to the issues that we're going to be discussing. And I don't know how I can effectively cross-examine her on a 3-hour interview that she had with Stauch about the events related to this case when I have no idea what she said. So I was asked to admonish when she testified that she's not allowed to render any opinions that she may have gathered from this 3-hour interview with Mr. Tellini and Ms. Stauch. Mr. Tellini did get a hard drive. I forget the amount of time. And
I was quite tempted to record some of it. I think I got 40 minutes of it recorded before.
Well, first of all, this would not be a Dr. Lewis's contact with Ms. Stauch yesterday could not be considered an evaluation of determination of sanity, because for one thing, it doesn't comply with the statutory requirements that any sanity evaluation in the state of Colorado must be audio and video recorded. And it sounds as though, I mean, I'm guessing from what's been mentioned, there's not any question that Dr. Lewis knew that because she introduced one. Okay.
This was, going over impressions, like over. I would not characterize this as new.
And it won't be because she's not going to be able to testify about it. But I think, and what specifically is referenced, and I'm looking for it in her report. Unless you can find me somewhere in one of her reports, and I have both of them. Okay, so Dr. Lewis's first report is about a 3-page letter. Dr. Lewis's second report is a 6-page letter, well, 7 if you include the signature. But unless you can show me.
All right, I'll just end it because we all heard about the Dr. Lewis thing. I did want to show you another clip since we have a little time. Let's watch the home tour of the crime scene. All right, it's 21 minutes long, so try to hang in there with me. Let's watch this because I don't understand how Harley didn't know. I don't know. All right, so let's switch to that and then I'll let y'all go. Let's watch this crime scene. That's Harley's daughter. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to watch the tour of the crime scene, the walkthrough. All right, let's watch. I'm gonna put this on full screen so you can make sure you can see everything. Let me get rid of this banner. All right, let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. And the person's channel is, what is this person's channel? True Crime something. Can't catch it. But she did this upload. Thank you for doing it, girl. Let's get it.
As you can see, the gate is locked from the exterior side of the fence. This is the front entry into 6627 Mandan Drive. This would be from the front door. This is the upper level of the home. There are 2 bedrooms, a kitchen and living room area, and a sliding glass door to the backyard. And then the laundry room area, which exits into the garage for this residence. To the right is the first bedroom. This would be the room where Lena stays. So you enter the front hallway. You see that it opens up into the kitchen area of the residence. The kitchen does have a sliding glass door that exits to the backyard of the residence. We will exit that in a moment and show the other side of the gate from the backyard perspective. So the living room area. Our main hallway. This enters into the master bedroom. which has an attached bathroom and walk-in closet area. Moving back out towards the garage. The area in front of you is the laundry area. We'll move into the garage. Since we're in the garage, I will start with some points of interest. The 4 planks that you see on the ground are in the position they were during the first call when Gannon was reported to be missing. You can see that the tops of the boards have been sawed off. These were collected after a blood reagent called Blue Star was used on the ends of the boards that had been cut, and there was a positive reaction. That positive reaction gives us a presumptive that blood was present on those boards. On the garage floor, in the area that we're looking at between the broom, the cord, and the empty space on the floor, there were some Blue Star reactions on the floor in this area. They were in the form of droplets. They were not very large. As we move from the concrete to the stairs, there was a Blue Star reaction on the stair showing a potential possible partial shoe impression. That, again, with it being Blue Star, that reaction tells us it's presumptive for blood. Moving up into the laundry area, the tile in the laundry room did have positive reaction to the Blue Star, again telling us the potential presence for blood. They were small hits in the laundry area. Basically, they were droplet size, not much larger than that. If we close the laundry room door to the garage,
I'm Nick Nimmin, and I'm a StreamYard user.
you can see that there is still blood on the door and on the door handle. This would be the door leading into the garage. We'll turn around in the laundry room. The last Blue Star hit of note was down at the baseline where the tile meets the carpet. It would be in your right-hand side of the frame where the doorway begins, and that frame for the doorway, there was a hit with the Blue Star agent right where the carpet meets the tile and meets the for the doorway. That hit then led to us moving into the living room area. Again, this was the upstairs living and kitchen room area. You'll see the carpet area here. The carpet area in focus had a reaction to the Blue Star. The carpet appears ripped in this area. That rip is for checking the underside of that carpet to look for saturation, and there was none found. The stairs were then tested with the Blue Star reagent. There were positive hits on the stairs. They were small drop patterns, not much larger than a quarter for most of the stains. There was more of a reaction from the Blue Star, showing that there was heavy cleaning going on. The cleaning reacts with the Blue Star, but it does not provide an immediate reaction. It provides a slow illuminating reaction after some time, which indicated to us that there was some cleaning of the stairs and this landing area prior to heading down the stairs. There was luminol.
How was she able to clean up all this blood by herself?
Reaction on this landing. You can see that the carpet is not in its proper position. That carpet has also been pulled up underneath the carpet to check for saturation stains to the other side, and none were located. The baseboards around this landing did illuminate when the Blue Star was applied, showing that presumptive reaction for blood. Continuing down the stairs into the basement, Blue Star was used on the stairs going down. The Blue Star reacted to the stairs. Again, these were small hits, quarter size, and some significant cleaning. This patch of carpet into the basement, illuminated with Blue Star, showing that there was a lot of cleaning going on in this area. There was a very small single reaction to Blue Star at the base of the table. That again was about quarter size. As we hit the bottom of the stairs, this is the basement area of the residence. If you continue around to the right, you will see that there is a closet. It's a storage closet. We have a bedroom down here all the way to the right. This would have been Harley's bedroom. We have another bathroom area. This bedroom has a closet attached to it. In the storage closet. In the living room, we have the couch. The area removed from the couch was the area that candle wax was located. This was in the area for the Sunday night candle event where the candle was reported to be knocked over. When it was knocked over, it ignited a fire in the carpet. Portion of the carpet that was originally cut out was in this area here. You can still see some of the padding where the burn mark for where the padding melted. This would be the area that the candle landed. While doing the search, the area next to the candle, Blue Star was used. There was a positive hit, again being presumptive for blood. So a larger portion of the carpet was then cut out and retained so that that can be tested. Moving back in the basement, heading back to the stairs where you came down. Again, Blue Star reacted in this area, showing a large cleaning event. We had a single hit or by this furniture leg, about the size of a quarter. We come around to the hallway. We have a storage room. And then if you continue to the right, you have Gannon's bedroom. Before going into Gannon's bedroom, there was Blue Star used in the hallway. It reacted, showing a small trail, which led to the storage area. On the floor in the storage area, you can see that there are several locations that have been marked with Sharpie. Those are areas that were illuminated with blue star and showed a presumptive for blood. That blood was present. There is a trail that leads back into the storage room towards the sump pump located in the corner. The trail ending at that box. All these boxes were removed. Blue star was used on the entire room. It was just this particular trail that has been marked and highlighted that was located. There were no other presumptive positives for blood in the storage room. Backing out of the storage room, moving into Gannon's room. The room is normally set up so that the blue and red table is generally sitting underneath the window. This bed would be set up, ready to go. The second bed in the room would occupy this voided location, the southwest corner of the room. If you continue around in the room, there is a closet in the northeast corner of the room.
If you're anything like me, you want radiant skin, bounce.
Of note in Gannon's room is the large stain in the southeast corner of the room. The markings that you see on the wall are marking spatter marks that were denoted by the Metro Crime Lab. Each of these stickers is indicating a blood spatter pattern that was denoted and documented. The carpet had a large stain that saturated through the carpet, through the padding, leaving this stain on the concrete. For marking purposes, a red Sharpie was used to outline the outskirts of the pattern, showing you how large the pattern actually is. Over here, you can see where the carpet and the padding, what they would look like if they were present. I will then reverse my steps, go back up to the living area. I will go out the sliding glass door and show you the reverse side of the side gate, showing you that it does not lock from the interior, that it locks from the exterior side. And that will conclude the video tour at that point. This would be the rear yard of 6627. This portion of the fence has recently been removed. It was not the original position of that fence during our initial walkthrough of the scene. This is the exterior of the side gate leading to the front of the residence.
Bernadette, hope I'm saying it right. Are you the mother of Black Lady Jane? the daughter, excuse me, the daughter of Black Lady Jane. If you are, blessings and welcome, welcome, welcome to the channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know, is that what you meant? That you the daughter? Let's get it. Resume.
As you can see, the rear side of this fence or interior side of this fence is not secured. It is secured by the padlock on the front side of the gate.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Just wanted to watch the walkthrough of the crime scene, and I'm trying to understand how she was able to clean up all that by herself. Very interesting. All right, hold a second. This. Okay. Hang with Mr. J says, if I was a juror listening to this case and watching that sick chick and her fake lawyer, I'll be tempted to walk out. Doesn't it piss you off? It really is. I was just getting, you see the cameraman or the camera lady was zooming in on it like, are you kidding me? You know the judge had to see it, and I feel sorry for his co-worker, the other lawyer. You see him sitting there turning his face turning red like, why am I dealing with this? What is wrong with you? And he probably said something to him, but he's like, oh, don't tell me what to do. You ever said that co-worker that's want to fight against you? They don't want to listen? You gotta be kidding me. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We're going to see what happens Monday. 11 a.m. on my time. It might be streaming in the daytime. See what the verdict is. You know. At first, I would say is I'm not too sure what the verdict is going to be. But after last week, Wednesday, how defense got creamed because that Dr. Lewis came on the stand. She was just totally horrible. Look like defense might end up, not winning. Black Lady Jane here. Donna and Fabulous chat. Greetings, Black Lady Jane here. No, Bernadette is not my mother. No, I said, at first I think I just said, oh gosh, let me start again. I know at first I did say it's a mother, but is that your daughter? I turned around and said it was a daughter. And blessings to you, girl. Blessings to you. Let me know. Alright, so we'll just see what's gonna happen to let me see, anybody else voted? Do we have more votes? Let's see. Okay, I think it went up more. So 19 votes. Let me read again. What do you think the verdict will be? 26% says not guilty, insane. And 63% says guilty. And 11% says, I'm not sure, Donna. Okay, all right, okay. And everybody put out some blue hearts. Put out blue hearts for Gannon. Blue hearts. May justice be served for you. Young man, you did not deserve this. And I know you were screaming for help. I know you went to your father. You went to people because you wasn't happy. Because I know this woman was treating you bad. And you said something. But no one was listening to you. They probably told you, well, she's just having a hard time. Be nice and maybe a little bit more nice and she won't be the way she is. They swept your feelings under the rug. Now look what happened. Due to the parents. Yeah, the adults. It's our job to protect you. And you wasn't protected. Yep, I said it. All right, everybody. Everybody have this as a great one and a blessed one. And thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. And Black Lady Jane, you didn't answer me. Yeah, it's your daughter, right? Oh. All right. If it is, and blessings to everyone. Thank you for everybody here being engaging. And thank you. And that's just about it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. And always remember, date smart, not thirsty. Okay? Uh-oh, wait a minute. Did I get a last comment? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, she did say, Bernadette is Black Lady Jane's mother, and Black Lady Jane's two sons. Okay. Woo, I told you I've been partying too much this weekend. Give me a second. I'm a little lost over here, okay? All right. I love y'all. And blessings to y'all. May y'all have such a great and a blessed week and a productive week, and everything comes to you. And remember, God is love. And date smart, not thirsty. Bye.